And we're live.
Dope.
Hey, this is the first time I'm doing a guest host.
What?
Guest host.
This is the first time I'm doing a guest host.
Because last time Ian did it with Brittany. And
Yeah.
this episode we want to talk about how FixFit has been integrated into all of CrossFit Sun's kind of programming, the way we approach training and fitness. So this is going to be kind of towards our community or anyone that does CrossFit, I guess, or runs an affiliate or coaches.
Yeah, based on our experiences and what we've learned over the years, and especially over the last, 3 or 4 years, or however long we've been doing FixFit for, and trying to integrate it into the regular class. Or not even integrating it into the regular class, but just getting our regular members, to do it.
Yeah, because we started FixFit, the timing is all off always. It's like 3.5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, it was just kind of like another certificate or certification or seminar that like I've taken.
Right.
And then I started testing it. That's what I always do. So then it was more of like, hey, I'm just meeting up on Sundays. That's when Ian started doing it with me and Ryan and a couple other people, Bob. And then after that, then we started seeing the benefits of it. And then we started adding in like a couple FixFit sessions a week. Remember that? We did like Tuesday, Thursdays.
Yeah, we were running... we broke it off into its own thing that we would run as a class. So it would be Tuesday and Thursday at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. because that was when we could have a coach running the regular CrossFit class and the coach running like the Broken People FixFit class.
That's what it started as, right? It wasn't even like fully integrated to our program yet because we used it as like, oh shoot, your knee hurts.
Right.
Or you're doing heavy clean and jerks and you tweak your back or something.
Right.
So you should you kind of get shuttled into this FixFit experiment.
Yeah.
Because before,
and that's what it was as programming too. It was just an experiment. It wasn't as precise, maybe is the word, as it is now. But we because we were still figuring out how to target muscle groups and not do it where it's so much.
Yeah, it's kind of like we were just following what the StrongFit protocols were, and then we're just testing it to see if it even works. And then I think through that process, we're trying to find our own niche, right? Like, where does this go for us?
Yeah.
How does it fall into it? Does it fall into the daily program, or should we just have it as once you get hurt, go see the FixFit class or something, or go to me?
Right.
So before, when someone got hurt as a coach, what was our protocol back then? What would you do?
We used to use mobility. So there's a lot of rolling out and a lot of stretching to try and help. So the biggest example is with, let's not make it too complex, with the deadlift. When people would hurt their backs, we would give them the typical mobility they would do is put a double lacrosse ball on their lower back, lay flat on the ground, and stick their feet up on a box or on a bench, and they would just relax their butt so that way and relax their back onto it, and it would decompress those erectors which were on fire.
Yeah, and then we do 90-90 stretch.
Yep, for hips.
And then we just keep having them stretch and roll out and stretch and roll out.
And if people couldn't do an overhead squat, it's because they're not spending any time in a doorway with a PVC overhead practice, with the PVC against the door doing overhead squats.
It's kind of weird because to get the mobility back then, it was just forcing the position.
Right.
And not necessarily figuring out, what's causing the restriction.
Right.
It's just you can't overhead squat, grab this PVC and sit down there.
Right. We also still had, I feel, at least I did, had a lot more of the CrossFit mentality at the time, where it was there's no modifying. If you can't do a 135-pound overhead squat, then do a 95-pound overhead squat. But either way, you're doing an overhead squat because that's what the movement is. And if you're not doing that, then you're not doing CrossFit.
That was kind of the benefit, though. I mean, it still is, where the draw of CrossFit, right? Everyone's doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You might be snatching, 260, 70, over 200 pounds, but then someone might be, you can still snatch at a PVC.
Right.
And then that's, it's fun where everyone can do everything together, but then in the long run, that's where the problems lie, right? Because you're just going to force yourself to go ass to grass or all the way down and then never really understand what's causing your restrictions so that you can't go all the way down.
Right. Well, you're just reinforcing bad positions.
And the only thing we had in terms of knowledge, right, because people always ask, well, we used to do this, we used to do that, how come we don't do it anymore? Well, that was as much info or experience we've had back then.
Right.
So when someone like, I remember Silas, remember that Cal comp?
Yeah.
Where he couldn't do one overhead squat at, I think, 65?
Yeah, it was 65 or 75 pounds, just as many overhead squats as you can do.
But like my brother, Chung, he used to run CFS with me. Him and I were working on size for like an hour and a half to like, we were like pushing on his shoulder. We were like digging out his back, everything, just so he can get one rep.
Yeah.
And that was the mindset back then.
Yep. But he did it. But really, you're
but
like,
at what cost?
Right, you're like, come on.
He's never been the same.
Yeah. No. Poor guy.
So now let's fast forward a little bit. Just due to your training, right? Because again, if people have been listening along, I think it's similar where you had the same reservations and I think the change or the adjustments as a CrossFitter. Mm-hmm. So you as an athlete, right? Like how have you trained before with like FixFit, and then like now you're kind of like fully integrate into it, especially with your new FixFit Deej page?
Before,
or let's say, like, what's the benefits? You know, if you're going to tell a CrossFitter to maybe, it's not even changing, like, say I'm not doing CrossFit anymore. It's just like adding in a new seminar, like the mobility WOD, CrossFit football.
For me, like, I am always looking to do another workout. What can I do to get better? What can I do to get better? And the way that I had always done that was just by, okay, let's do another workout. If I want to get stronger in the dip, the only way that I could possibly do that is by doing 100 dips every other day, you know, or two times a week or whatever. The only way I'm going to get better at snatching is by snatching 3 times a week as heavy as I can every single time. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, it's taken a toll on my body, but I'm not nearly, like, I don't want to over-exaggerate. Like, don't believe that I'm anything like a games athlete or anything where they're like having knee surgeries and back surgeries and things like that, right? But I'm like sore. I'm sore all the time.
Yeah,
but,
well,
like,
Dave Vaughn talked about, like, hey, you're one bad workout away from having that surgery. Right. That was kind of like the eye-opening experience.
Well, and that was when it started taking, because before I was just running the FixFit class and just like kind of doing it with them, but not, and just kind of like, okay, it's just another workout, whatever. Yeah. And then I think the thing that has really helped me is that as FixFit has evolved, it's become more able to be personalized, because we stopped running it as a regular class. We started putting all the movements in class, and we stopped running FixFit as its own thing. So it was no longer separate. Yeah. And then FixFit, it started being integrated into our regular classes in terms of like, this could be a warm-up, this could be a finisher, whatever. And as we're doing that, I can then start learning, like, okay, this anchor press, like if I have any kind of shoulder issue, this anchor press is a thing to do to help it. And I'm very good about being able to do things if I know that they are going to help. So like that slam, the diaphragm slam, because I've felt benefits from it. I feel my core getting stronger, and I know it's hard. I'm going to do it as often as I can, and I know that it'll work. And it's been the same thing with holding the yoke overhead and working, you know, that the not new, but to us new, that internal position where you're supposed to be at the bottom of a snatch, because I want to be able to lift heavier. And so instead of looking, and so now as FixFit's evolved, I've been able to incorporate it and not think of it as like, okay, this is another workout where I have to do 100 band skis for time. Yeah. But it's more like, and that's been happening more recently too, where it's like, it's not how many you do, right? It's how you're doing.
Yeah, it's the quality, right?
It. Yeah.
Because that was, I think we struggled, everyone struggled, even ourselves, like when we realized that the harness crawl, the sled pulls, the sled pushes were good. Right. The farmer's carries, we would just do a lot more.
Or we would just go as heavy as we could.
Yeah, kill ourselves. But then we realized, you know, every other month we're like, wait, I feel it more with less weight. Right. I feel it
way more when I do 4 plates and go the entire distance of our block, like whatever, 100 yards or whatever the hell it is out there. That blows me up way more than like 12 or 15 plates going 30 feet.
And I think maybe the change of mindset is that we're not trying to, you know, our sport isn't sled pushes. Right. Our lifts, the things we like to do, is not farmer's carry. Right. But now we realize the goal, right? So for me, it was like deadlift. And for you, it's snatch. So now it gives us some direction, I guess, where, like you said, it's more personalized. Mm-hmm. were more customized, because now you're doing the yoke overhead hold, or you're doing all these drills because there's a purpose. You're still doing for the snatch.
Right.
And I think the people like the FixFit class, and if they don't know the reason why we took it away, it's because we didn't want to create two different programs.
Right. Well, and whatever.
Or two different communities too.
Yeah, because what started happening was people would see what the regular workout was. They'd be like, well, I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to do FixFit.
Yeah, because they ran simultaneously.
Right.
Yep.
So then you're like as a coach, it's like, well, you're not here. Like, then you're just kind of half-assing FixFit for whatever reason.
Yeah, because you're afraid of the
Right.
workout burn of burpees or something.
If the workout was Kalsu in the regular class, or like come outside, we're going to just do pistons. People are like, oh, let's go do pistons. I'm not doing Kalsu.
That's the thing. We didn't have an intent back then, right?
Right.
Like, what is this? We were just using it more as in my head, like a classroom.
Right.
But I didn't realize the members may have used it for something else, just to get in an easier workout.
Right.
Or a modified workout. Or
right.
altogether just kind of escape the pain.
And that happens, right? People have reasons for doing that. But as a coach, we don't want you avoiding movement just because. So the easiest thing for us to do to not create two different communities and have all that going on was just to get rid of the class and blend them together.
Yeah, and because we also realized that like everyone needs it.
Right.
They came to a point where, you start having these, fix fitters in here, and then the regular CrossFit members type of deal, and then the fix fitters are PR or their back didn't hurt, and then it starts to become like, well, it's because you don't fix fit.
Right.
And then it starts to be that like,
or they'd be tagging whatever, but they'd be tagging people who are like doing things but they look fucked up. You should be fix fitting.
Yeah, it's like when CrossFit started. Oh, you don't do functional movements? Yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the timeline is just like our approach, because we always want to figure things out a little bit more. At least that's my approach with training, because it's like you're always trying to get better as an athlete. And for me, since day one, I always want to become better as a coach, as programmer. Just we're looking for something new. So the mobility WOD stuff when we first started was kind of eye-opening. Like no one else was doing it.
Right.
Everyone else would just do that. Like, hey, in the garage days when I learned it, it was like, you can't front squat, just front squat all day long till you get there.
Yep.
And then we learned a little bit more. Well, you roll out your lats or this or that.
Right.
You do a 10-minute squat a day. You know, those type of things. And it did help at that point.
Right. And
that's all the community had. But then now we realize that stuff, the mobility WOD stuff, all the stuff we practice, the boulder stretch, the 90-90, the hip capsule that you guys are all familiar with.
Love it.
We're realizing it's great for recovery.
Yeah.
But if we reevaluate and look back at some of the, our tighter members that can't get down, and then they have spent a month doing the 10-minute squat, and then when they go to do a front squat or a back squat, it still looks like garbage, I guess, or whatever. So then we were realizing that, the mobility WOD stuff did work because it gives you that retest. I don't know if you ever did it when you do the shoulder capsule with the dumbbell laying down, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, raise your hands up, and then one arm's behind the ear and one arm's in front. I think that's what Kelly Starr got to. He got that reading and then took that and said, oh, that must work.
Right. But as CrossFit's evolved and we are learning more, we have just found more efficient ways of doing things. Just like we did when we learned how to snatch, we were just doing
That's a good point.
A
jump shrug.
Yeah, jump shrug. And then we were we watch videos or whatever, and we have, because, now you have access to the internet.
Yep.
Not that we didn't have access to the internet back then, but it's way more readily available. And you see all these people that aren't doing a jump shrug.
Yeah.
And so we learned how to do that, and it's like, oh, this is a more efficient way to do it. And it just continues to grow in terms of our Olympic lifting. It's now the same thing in terms of helping our members who have, it's not just tight members, they're the ones that get the bad rap or whatever because they have...
Yeah, you hit a plateau, that type of member, the injured members.
Yep. Even people who are just
inefficient
or just even regular members, you're not going to go wrong building your muscles a little bit. Everyone wants to look fit. This is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Getting that pump.
Yep.
That pump juice.
The weightlifting is a good example because I get that a lot. People always go, well, how come we're not deadlifting like that before?
Yeah.
Or how come we did this before and now we're doing this?
Right.
And it's like you said, it's the that's what we were taught in our
Right.
certifications.
We didn't know any better.
We didn't know until John North came in, and he was
Right.
the one that was very blunt, and people liked him. We liked him because he was like, no one in the world at this level of lifting, because he's in the sport. At that time, he was like the best lifter in the 94 kg in the US.
Right.
It's like, no one does this jump shrug stuff that all you CrossFitters do.
Right.
And it kind of opened our eyes up. And yes, from then on out, we tested it, the same thing. We don't just fully follow blindly.
Right.
We did a couple weightlifting cycles. We learned how to do all the drills. And then all of our PRs went up substantially. I remember
Right.
no one could break 200 in the gym for a snatch. And then after that, it was like, now it's like a lower kind of baseline, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you can't snatch, a lot of people can snatch over 200.
I mean, even 185 at that time was...
Yeah, 155 or 165 in the open was like a 1 rep max for everyone. Because you can only shrug that shit so high.
Right.
So same thing. It's like, why are we changing the way we deadlift? Because we just, like you said, we just have better
I mean, it's just evolution.
understanding.
You know? Yeah, absolutely.
We just understand shit better, you know? It's
Yep.
like learning and growing. And this is new to the whole strength and conditioning world. So not only are we, like CrossFitters, picking up, like, techniques and things, like, so is the whole weightlifting world and the powerlifting world and the fitness world, you know?
And, like, not to toot our own horns, but it's fun.
Oh, DJ's not going to toot his own horn.
No.
I'm just going to rip this clip right here. And then...
However, it's nice to now see other strength and conditioning coaches doing things that we've been doing in CrossFit for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
You know? And now even the ones that were ahead of that are starting to do some more of this, like, FixFitty bodybuilding kind of stuff. You know? It's like always, which just reaffirms to me, like, oh, okay, then this is the stuff we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
it's not just our
I just
gym,
send you something,
but...
like some random post of
Right.
different companies, someone's doing a
Right.
diaphragm slam or this
Yep.
or that. It's, you know,
Like,
it happens.
we do that.
And that's the idea, is because we're learning from outside sources.
Right.
And hopefully, you know, people are evolving. Bob and I talked about this on Saturday. It's like, people have to change the way they think when they come into the gym and make it, like, life short, right? Make this enjoyable and customize it to your abilities or whatever. Don't just follow blindly.
Right.
And that's a very important, like, mindset, because when you come in here, don't just, like, we've already changed it. If you don't want to ever do a handstand push-up, who gives a fuck, right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't just because, like, why? Are you going to go compete at a competition that requires you to do a handstand?
Yeah.
99% of the people in here don't give a damn.
Yeah.
So same thing with, like, the way you bench, the way you squat, the way you deadlift. If you keep hurting your back on a deadlift, don't just keep doing the same thing you've been taught. You have to kind of say, like, well, you know what? I feel better doing sandbag squats. Or if something isn't working, at least try to question it and change it so that you can still deadlift because you like it.
Well, and that's been the nice thing about putting all the FixFit movements in class, because now before we do a workout, we're doing what we're calling WOD prep, which is just FixFit movements to basically mimic the movements we're going to do. So that way, if you weren't comfortable doing deadlifts, or maybe you do hurt your back every time you're doing a deadlift, you shouldn't be doing a deadlift. What you should do is whatever the hell we do in WOD prep. Then we don't have to find 100 different scales for everybody too, you know?
Yeah, so what DJ's talking about is, like, for programming now.
Yeah.
Why we've kind of just, you know, so many times we would try to change names. Like, don't even call it FixFit, this and that. Because we just want this to be, like, in addition, kind of like when we learned the hit and catch from John North, right? It wasn't now that all of a sudden we're not CrossFit Sun or CrossFit. We're just, you know, Attitude Nation John North.
Right.
So same thing with, like, the programming now. We have found a better tool, a better mousetrap or whatever, just to warm people up. So DJ's opening his water bottle slowly. Try not to make noise. It's one of those where you make it worse.
Yeah.
Makes a louder squeak. No, but, like, again, for us, it's just figuring out how to run a class more efficiently for the members' benefit, right?
Right.
So when we're prepping for a, let's say, kipping pull-up or a pull-up,
Okay.
instead of doing the general warm-ups, which are, think about how you warm up currently, you know, whoever's listening, and how we used to. It's like, we would do what? 200-meter run, do some inchworms, do some burpees, do some rowing, right? Body weight stuff, dynamic stuff.
Do something to break a sweat.
Break a sweat. and then you go to do something that's a high skill or something technical, and you have not even warmed up
It's like hop on the bar and start doing kips.
Yeah, do your kip swings.
Now do your kip a little bigger.
Your hollow holds.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, great. And then you go and you modify by doing banded pull-ups, this and that. It just wasn't an efficient transition. Then you have to kind of split your time with, modifying for those that don't do kipping pull-ups.
Well, so like a pull-up is a great example too, because like even as you're going to modifying, the thing that we hear all the time from everybody is, I want to be able to do a pull-up. What do I need to do a pull-up? Mm-hmm. And it's always like, oh, well, you can do these drills.
These progressions.
Do these, and then at the end of class, you're showing them, like, this is a ring row. You should be doing, do these pull downs, do a negative from the top. You got your chin above the bar, slowly lower yourself down, all that stuff. And we don't have to go over that stuff anymore because it's like, if you want to get better at pull-ups, do the drills that we're doing before we do pull-ups.
Yeah. And it's really then, it's that you put the responsibility in the athlete's hands, the member's hands, because you have to be honest with them, right? If you want to get better at a skill, like kipping pull-ups, double unders, you have to practice.
Right.
You can't just learn it in this quick little, like, hey, do these 5 progressions real quick, 3 minutes before the workout starts, and then you're going to get better at it,
Well, and just from a coaching programming standpoint, it's way easier to go over things. Like, it's way easier to put the responsibility on them when you're going over it in class. So I don't have to spend any extra time. I don't have to take away from time in the next class to go over it. I don't have to take away time from everybody else to individually work on this with one person. I'm just going, like, once I've gone over it with everybody and people, like, kind of are starting to go through it, then I can bounce around and help.
Yeah.
But it's not like I have to go and spend 10 minutes with one specific person showing them the progressions to become stronger. Right.
Yeah. So what we do now is, instead of doing the general get a break a sweat warm-up, whatever's programmed for the day, the movement-wise, right? Let's say it's handstand push-ups. Mm-hmm. Okay, we do all of our, we call them FixFit drills to prep the muscles for the day. So we're doing pistons because there might be squats later. We're doing Terry's carries because there might be pull-ups, anchor press, light bulb lat, all of those drills. And then if it's handstand push-ups, right before that, for the movement prep, we'll go, hey, we're doing these anchor presses. This mimics the exact same position and mechanics that mechanics means muscles use, not just the technique, as a handstand push-up.
Yep.
So we'll go over, hey, do you feel the lats on the way down of these dumbbell presses? And then you should feel your upper pec on. And then we get everyone to do it because everyone needs it. Yep. So we're not splitting up the group. And then right after we get everyone activated or warmed up or prepped, then it goes, okay, now you guys are setting up for the workout. The workout is 5 handstand push-ups a minute for 10 minutes. Then you have the group of people that care, find a space on the wall, start doing their progressions. And then the people that never cared about doing handstands but still get the benefits of training stronger shoulders, posture,
still need to be doing the pressing, all that stuff.
Still got to press overhead.
Yep.
So then we've already went over how to do that modification.
Right.
So it makes it 10 times easier to coach.
Right.
And for people attending a class, it's a lot smoother transition so no one gets neglected.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, you guys know how to do handstands, just go. And that's what we used to do, right?
Right.
Oh, you guys know how to do kipping pull-ups, just go away. They still need that, like, FixFit type of prep, and then help them assess and identify if they're not using one lat or another,
Yeah.
So that's been a huge help. And then I think if you look at the program these days, because you do the programming.
Yes, I do.
It's been real good in terms of how you've integrated all of the stuff that you're doing on yourself into the class, because the warm-up is all activation FixFit stuff.
Usually.
It's very, it's more often than not, right? But you can't, that's the variation where you have to keep it fun still.
Right.
Like when we play rolling, or if it's some little like burpee challenge, obviously we're just going to get after it. Because if you just did drills all the time, it'd be boring.
I just know that people, one of the things they say at 6 a.m. is that they want to make warm-ups again.
Because that's what they're accustomed to. Yeah. That's what they're used to.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they say they're too hard. It's like, I don't know about that, but
that's a different issue.
That's a different issue. So
you're trying to earn a gold star. That's some of those challenges.
A majority of the time, it's okay. Like looking at the day, what do we need to get prepped for? Let's do that.
And then and then that allows people to now choose and customize their workout, right? So like if you have a workout with 3 movements, let's say kipping pull-ups, handstand push-ups, and deadlifts or something.
Okay.
Then you can pick and choose and modify I think you and I are struggling with the term scaling or modifying, right? It's like,
well, it's a big thing. We're sending each other a lot of posts back and forth because it's a big thing within regular CrossFit stuff, where like modifying,
scaling, right, is the...
Well, people like Chris Spieler's posting like, I hate the word RX. I hate the terms RX.
And we've always hated that too.
Right.
In the past.
So we try to come up with different ways of making it be whatever, but it's like to like make it more acceptable within class, but like you should be able to change the workout to fit whatever your goal is.
That was the discussion, right? Bob was saying like, life's short, like go in there and do whatever you want to do. Right. If a log press feels better than handstand push-ups,
right,
why don't you do it? No one in here, none of the coaches are ramming it down your throat to say you have to, but you have to be able to step up for yourself and like choose what you are trying to work towards.
Right.
You know, it's really strange.
Or a coach might make you do something that you don't want to do.
That only applies to 6 a.m.
I'm only saying one coach might be.
But even then, like, you know, again, if someone's like, oh, my shoulder hurts, you're not going to be like, oh, you have to do this.
Right. Well, and but I feel like I've been getting a lot better about, you know, approaching people beforehand who have told me that they have issues and being like, hey, maybe we're not doing toaster bar today.
And it's time and place, right? So, like, I think you've gotten better at pushing people not towards, like, hey, you're not going RX type deal.
Yeah.
You know, you still joke around with your buddies because Ian obviously doesn't know how to squat all the way down.
Well, I don't want to talk about that right now. We've
time.
almost made it through the entire podcast without mentioning him.
No, but there's a time and place because you're pushing members on things that they need to be pushed on, like when they're on the assault bike,
right?
Which is like really low tech.
Yeah.
You know, pushing a sled. You know, getting them to actually keep moving on burpees, right? Like that takes motivation as a coach.
Well, and as we talk about intent, right? Like that's if a workout is written as RX with 135 pound squat cleans.
Okay.
And your 1RM, not you, because I know yours is a little bit more than this, but if your 1RM is like
slightly
155,
yeah,
and mine is 300,
yeah,
you and I should not be using the same weight. If the intent of the workout is to be able to link these squat cleans,
yeah,
like there's no reason for that. Scale down or modify down or change the workout or whatever you want to call it. But like
modify for the stimulus.
Yeah, modify for the stimulus is what we've been trying to. Yeah, that's what it says in the programming. You know?
And in the FixFit tools and techniques or concepts, let's say, it just allows you to modify for the stimulus better.
Right.
So if you need to be doing something like Diane, where it's like 159, 225 deadlifts, you know, it's a lot of deadlifts that you should be able to hinge quickly.
Right.
But, you know, pushing a sled for that duration at that weight is going to give you the same cardio burn.
Right.
You're going to get through that set. Let's say it takes you a minute and 15 seconds to get through 21 deadlifts. If you push a damn sled with breaks for like a minute 15 seconds, with 225 on it, it's a lot safer for that person. And you're not going to take breaks because someone's going to go, oh, everyone's doing 225, I'm going to have to.
Right.
And then guess what? They do one rep, drop it.
Right.
You're not modifying. Like, you're not thinking for yourself again.
When the class is done with the workout.
Because where's the benefit for you?
Yeah. When everyone's done with the workout in 5 minutes and you're done with it in 15, it's like, what did we achieve today?
Yeah. What was your, what did you leave here with the win of the day, you know?
I did the workout RX.
That is a big problem with CrossFit in terms of growing up. It's like they have to stop thinking suffering is the level of suffering equates to the it's a better workout. So the more you suffer, what CrossFitters feel, some, not all, I think the majority, they have that prestige or pride, right? Kind of, we talked about that in other podcasts. It's like we have I don't know, we honor those athletes that push past pain.
Right.
Brett Favre played with a broken hand or something.
Right.
And it looks cooler. And I don't know what it is because people would rather do something like, I did RX today. Right. You're like, dude, that's less pain. We did Isabel training, learning how to snatch more FixFit way or whatever. Yeah. We'll talk about that later, not this podcast. But we did 75 pounds.
Yeah. And you used 75 and you told me to grab 95.
Yeah.
And I watched you do 75 unbroken.
56 seconds.
In 56 seconds, I was like, I'm absolutely using 95.
Yeah, and then I was like, barely breathing. No, this is the weight. This is it. Because again, if you and I did 95 or even 155, Isabel,
Right.
we would do it in like 7-8 minutes for heavier.
Right.
For me, it's not going to get the same stimulus as like nowadays Isabel and Grace.
And what did we walk just when you guys get to learning how to do, or when you guys go over the snatches? But what did everyone who did the
True.
one round
True.
of 30 unbroken snatches at 75 pounds?
Yeah.
What did everyone who did that walk away saying?
Yep.
At least the next day.
My hamstrings are
My
sore.
hamstrings are so sore. What did we do yesterday?
And guess what? Normally people say when they do Isabel, my traps are blown up.
My erectors are on fire.
Yeah, my elbow hurts.
I couldn't even process that we did, like, the fact that we did the 30 snatches was so far removed from my mind. I went for a run Sunday morning, so we did that Saturday.
Yeah.
And Sunday morning I went for a run and was like half a mile in.
Yeah.
I was like, my hamstrings are so sore. I was like going through everything that we did and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got a massage later, that was great.
Yeah.
And shout out to my girl B, came in, and then we're like, I'm talking to you guys, and you're like, yeah, it was those snatches. And I was like,
oh,
no way.
No way. That's only 75
That's
pounds.
only 75 pounds, and it wasn't in my erectors.
See, that's funny because, like, one, you've been coaching forever, and CrossFitting forever, and doing FixFit now, and it still takes you that, like, put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
It's like you have to go in with the intent, and I think, if you were there just to do Isabel because RX is 135,
yeah,
it changes the whole training smart aspect of it.
Yep.
We could have done Grace at RX weight, but I mean Isabel, sorry, but like what's the point,
Yeah.
Just doing another workout.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing as we're gearing up for the Open, is we're peeling back the weight. Even peeling back like all the heavy, not even like quantity of reps that we're doing,
Yep.
We're not doing multiple workouts. We're not doing, volume.
Our multiple workouts is like, all right, we're doing stiff-legged like hinges,
Right.
making sure our lats and our glutes are working.
And then we do like a 10-minute burner.
Yeah, just to keep that, you have to get comfortable with the pain. It's part of our hobby, our sport. So doing something like bike row or something like that.
Yep.
Then you're going to keep, because that's all mental at that point.
Right. And then it's like, okay, we did our hinges earlier.
Yeah.
We did rowing, so we got our hamstrings there. Now we're going to finish with some hip ups, weighted hip ups, and some diaphragm slam, and call it a day.
And for something like your deadlift is what I want to talk about too, is because like,
which one? My PR deadlift?
Your
my 475 deadlift?
Because deadlift is your worst movement.
100%.
You would tweak your back all the time, and you're
100%.
Still afraid to deadlift without a belt.
I'm afraid to do anything above,
like even cleans,
cleaning
right?
above 200, cleaning 275 and above. I put a belt on.
So any weight you get above 275 on a bar, you're putting a belt on.
I'll go 315
on a back squat
on a deadlift.
Oh, okay.
But then I'm like, all right, we need the belt.
And
I'm not even sure what it's doing, other than just making me feel. It's like it literally is a blanket in me that I wrap myself in it, and I'm like, oh, it's okay.
It's like a Snuggie.
I'm so safe.
Yeah. It's your teddy bear.
Yeah.
That you've had since you were a child, and that's okay if that's what you're using it for, I guess.
Yeah.
But the proof was like we were just I haven't been deadlifting or did my farmer's carry or the 10-minute piston squats. I'm not training for deadlift anymore.
Right.
So the last month since I've been coming to happy hour, we've been doing so much FixFit in the happy hour as now testing it, because that's what we do there. We work out together, we test new things out, and then 2 Sundays ago I think we just hey, let's deadlift for fun, and you hit 275, which is a 20-pound PR.
Yep. I
hit 485, which is really close to 5, and we both.
But no one really believes that you did the 5. So.
Okay. Sabrina and Ernest are listening. But I pulled 500 conventional, not even sumo, and it moved up fast. Just my grip strength is gone. And you took a shot at 500 too.
For some dumb reason.
For funsies. You know, you didn't even train 3 months for it and packed on a bunch of weight, which is cool because you've always tweaked your back at like 425, 405. I have the video that you sent me of me doing the deadlift, and I'm been waiting to post it for whatever reason, because it's like a lot for me to be processing, but like I don't know what the bigger win to take away from that day was. I feel like I should be really proud of the fact that I hit a 20-pound PR on my deadlift
which I haven't done since whenever the first time we did Kalsu. And even then, right,
King
like
Kong.
it dropped King Kong, right?
Yeah.
Not Kalsu. Even then, like it drops below to like 405 is my max for the day, and then it'll be like 425, whatever.
Yeah.
But like a really great day for me, I finished King Kong once doing it sumo. I did half of it when I was doing it conventional. I fucked my back up, so I stopped. And that was like the last time I deadlifted 455.
Yeah.
And then for just no reason, when we did the July 4th thing, when you hit 500, we hit 425 or something.
Yeah, that was
and that was like,
by the way.
Yeah, it was. But we hit 425, and I was like, this is really heavy, but whatever, it's a good day because I hit over 400.
Yeah.
And wasn't going into that deadlift planning on doing anything.
Yep.
I didn't carb load the night before or anything. I hadn't really even eaten anything before.
Yeah, we didn't do shit. It was just a random Sunday.
We're just like, let's deadlift. And I hit 475, which I feel I should be really proud of. But the thing that gets me is that I walk away, and it took a couple days to think about it, that like my back is not messed up from hitting that weight.
Yeah, you didn't take any time off of training. Because usually when we do like a holiday barbell throwdown, we're like kind of fucked for a little bit.
The next day is like, that's not really doing it.
Maybe we'll just sit and
modify. Right.
Because we would do that. We would do a heavy deadlift session, and it'd be like close to low fours.
Yeah.
And then we'd be doing sandbag squats for the next 2 weeks to unfuck it, you know?
Yep.
So that is, that's the proof that I think people need to do. They need to try it out. They need to test it from what they're used to doing.
Right.
And just start to build that belief that this shit's working.
Right.
And it's still taking you, that's why I had to bring up deadlift, because that was impressive.
Yeah.
From your weakest lift. And that's what I experienced. The deadlift was really cool to hit 500 on the event, but my biggest benefit from it, and I posted about it, was my strict press going up.
Yeah.
135 used to be like our PRs.
It's so hard.
For 8 years.
Yeah.
And now we're repping out 135 regularly.
Yeah.
In like EMOMs.
I don't like it.
But it's amazing. Like we took our old lifetime max, and now we're just doing it as WOD weight.
Right.
And again, not training specifically.
We're not
for
doing
the
strict presses all the time.
A strict press regimen,
right?
Some drill. It's just we're using the right muscles more often, and then the PRs are happening.
Yeah. Less
neck and elbow pain for me when I go overhead.
Yep.
Especially with the new light bulb lat and the new snatch and jerk overhead position.
Yep.
So let's end it on this, because another benefit that we see as coaches and as being a CrossFitter is like, what do you do when you get injured? Because before, like you talked about, you would just roll out a lot. So now what?
Spend the next days putting whatever, what's that rub called?
Icy hot?
Yeah, putting icy hot on your back, being like, oh, I feel so good now.
Right? Or soaking it.
And now we got this
something, right?
Yeah. Now we got the CBD.
CBD
thing that doesn't do anything.
Well, the thing is, like, it's in that same category as recovery, but people start to, like, we used to use those things to, like, fix the problem.
Right.
So let's say you stretch, do all the Tiger Balm icy hot baths, and then your lower back feels better.
Right.
But now you're gun shy for the next, you don't even want to deadlift anymore.
Right. Well, it's not even deadlift. It's
you don't want to just move
like
your body
a week and a half of like gingerly grabbing the bar, and because I want to snatch, but because I deadlifted, my back hurts.
That's a rare few people, right? Like, there's only a handful of people that have that athlete mentality where it's like, I tweak my shoulder, I'm still coming in the next day.
Yeah,
I'm
still
gonna
do
figure
it.
out.
Yeah,
but I think,
which may not be a great thing.
I think
like
80% of the people in any given CrossFit gym is probably the opposite. Where like, oh shit, my knee hurts, I'm going to take 3 days off.
Well, that's why we always
2 weeks off.
That's why we always tell people, especially after the deadlift workouts, because we know that's when people get sore. We're like, hey, if you're feeling sore tomorrow, please come in.
Yeah.
Don't just stay at home and not do anything.
And that's where the benefit of, when you come in, we're not trying to kill you on a new workout, but there's FixFit drills you can do to make other areas better. So let's say your hamstrings are wrecked from Isabel, you could come in and work the anchor press, or do floor presses, oblique openers.
And that's what I was telling myself this past Sunday when my hamstrings were really sore, because I ran in the morning and then I got the massage, so I was like nice and relaxed, and I was like gonna send you a message to be like, hey, I'm coming in, but leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah. Please don't.
I'm not doing any of your dumb shit. And then Bob made me do a sled thing that was really not fun.
Yeah, it's like, my hamstring's sore, no deadlifts.
Please leave me alone.
If what we have found, because I've been assessing a lot of people that are injured, not only just from this gym, different athletes, different people from different CrossFit gyms, golf, soccer, you name it. But in the
Frisbee?
traditional mindset, yeah, ultimate frisbee.
Yeah.
That's like half of the demographic that comes into me. You're an
Cool.
idiot.
You told me to name it.
And then so we get people moving right away, and we talked about that in yesterday's FixFit Sunday thing.
Yeah.
Is what turns off the signals for the body to trigger the pain, it's like they're knots, like you talked about. You blow up your back, your erector zone like seized up.
Yeah.
Muscles going, your lower back, the muscles going up and down your back. So when it's seized up, you can roll it out all day long, but it's like it's guarding for a reason. The only way for it to release is you have to start moving. And if you don't do it right away, it's going to get tighter because you're like gingerly moving, you're stuck, you're like laid up in the couch for 3 days.
Yep.
It's just going to get worse. So while you're fresh, if what we've seen right away, we get people in mid-wad. So someone tweaked their shoulder on a push press, right?
Right.
I remember
burpees were for a while. People were messing themselves up on burpees.
I remember this one incident. I asked him to use a story, but like Clark was doing push press and his shoulder like felt the pain, and I was like, all right, do these drills, do these anchor press, do this and that, and then in my head I'm telling him to do it for the rest of the WOD so he could keep moving.
Right.
Because then I will go up to him and say, hey, do this pressing thing, and then do you feel the pain? No. Okay, this is what you're gonna do. After a couple rounds, turn around, he's still doing like whatever 95 pound or 135 push presses. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But he's like, no, it feels good now. And he's just like, I just got to be very careful of like when I do the movement. So he was able to work out the next day. Everything felt great. I don't like recommend doing it like that.
Right.
But it could have been like, I'm going to stop working out. I'm going to go home now.
Yeah.
I'm like, just go from like working out to be very fearful that you completely destroyed something in your shoulder. Then you take 4 weeks off or something. Then you lose all your core strength, your leg strength. It's like, what's the point? Resting doesn't really fix your issues. You know? So it's kind of like
It's the same thing with like avoiding a movement doesn't make it better.
Yeah, right? You can't just like, oh, I always tweak.
You can't not deadlift. You can't not figure out how to pick something up off the ground, because at some point in your life, you're going to have to pick a kid up, or you're going to have to pick a backpack up, or you're going to have groceries on the ground.
Yep.
You know, and you're going to have to know how to do that.
So if you get hurt,
Come in
and talk to the coach, because the first thing we want to do as coaches is to help you assess and identify why it happened in the first place.
Yeah.
And that takes away all the fear of, because we've all been hurt, takes away the fear of like, oh my gosh, am I crippled, or like I don't want to make it worse. Because once you're like, oh, it's just because you didn't use your hammy, or you use no glute on this back squat. That's why I kind of gave out.
Yeah.
It gives people that unknown is gone. Now they can just work pistons all day the next day.
Yeah.
And then more often than not, their back pain's gone immediately.
Yeah. It's crazy how that works.
It happened to Aaron on Thursday. Same thing. It's like you're in so much pain that you can't even get out of bed or get up. But then you start doing the oblique opener and then just body weight hinges, body weight air squats with the focus of keeping the obliques on.
Yeah.
And then they're back. It's like I was telling the class yesterday, I don't want people to have to wait. That's what most people do. So like you get hurt, then you're waiting on someone. I can't get an appointment with Ian for like a week, or I don't have time right now.
And by then it's already been too late.
Yeah, you've already played that mental game. You're like timid, you're gun shy for the next couple months.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of been the biggest benefits for us as coaches. We get the people
right back to
working out, moving, because that's the goal.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so
I just want you to know, all the barbells that are dropping out there, it shouldn't be as loud as it is, because they're supposed to be linked. So
you're about to go out and wreck.
I'm about to go and talk to some people.
See, that's what I'm saying. You go out and you're pushing them in the right way, not like you need more weight.
No,
and then
you need to hang on to that barbell.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's
because
their obliques aren't on.
It's the problem.
That's the problem. All right, follow. DJ has a new page.
Oh yeah,
FixFit Deej, DEEJ.
If you want to see what I think about FixFit.
Well, okay, quickly, what's the intent of that page?
I mean, it started as a joke. Like, the FixFit Deej started as a joke.
Yeah.
And then I just figure I enjoy being able to look back and seeing how I have progressed. And I don't necessarily want to be doing that on, like, the page where I post pictures of my kids and everything else, because I can understand that can be too cruss. Like, people don't want to see that all the time.
That's exactly why I made my new page, because I was like...
But you only use your new page now for everything, so it's the back.
Well, what happens was everyone kept requesting for Fox, so I'm like, this is your daily Fox fix. No one gives a shit actually about the FixFit.
Yeah.
But no, I
But
get
it's
you.
not. I mean, it's not meant to be like. I'm not trying to do it to like instruct people how to do things. Like I'm just. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, and
So-
I think it's more important to have more pages like that because people want to follow the journey.
Right.
They want to see your struggles. Like,
Yep.
You know, they don't. Everyone's in the Instagram world is always posting the highlights, right?
Right.
Like, oh, I deadlift PR, I snatch PR.
So
but-
to see my highlights, you can follow CrossFit. Is it CrossFit_Deej? Whatever. You can follow my other one.
yeah,
I'll
CrossFit
post pictures
Deej.
of my kids and like I'll
That's
post
where
all
the
my snatch.
PRs
That's where all the PRs are. But all the real shit that I'm doing, all
Yeah.
the diaphragm slams and the hinges and all that shit that I'm super uncomfortable doing and don't like doing because it's not easy for me. That bodybuilding stuff that I don't know how to do. FixFitness.
Yeah, it's like you're doing the band sweepbacks and
Yep.
just identifying. Oh, there's no lat here, this
Yep.
and that. It's not very cool, I guess.
No, it's not, and it's not fun because it's not
Something you're good at.
something I'm good at, and it's
And
whatever.
the only way to get better
And
at
it
it
makes
is
sure
to
right, like I'm
practice.
super making myself super vulnerable by posting this stuff
Yeah.
with my lat non-existent. But it is what it is. If
That's
I can do it, you can do it.
That's the goal. The life of a coach.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah. It's so rough. All right, we're out.
Yeah.
It's so
Hey.
far.
Enjoy my music. I wrote this song just for you.
Can you do it live right now? Do you know it?
The first one is the I know the end one. The end one's
Yeah.
and I threw the bass in there, doom 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 doom, because I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
And then there's a little bit of a drum issue there, but it's like do 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 do.
See? There
Pretty
you go.
dope.
Live.
That's for the video too.
That's live right there. You don't even need to edit it. You can-
No, don't even put the music in at this point.